Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. Glad to see you here, even though if it's only for the air conditioning. I'm Belma. I work at ChainSafe as VP of Engineering. And yeah, today I wanted to talk a little bit about open source, especially kind of at the contributors part. So yeah, spoiler alert, that's the part that we could do better. Yeah, this is coming just from kind of a personal observations and also like our experience at ChainSafe with multiple years of open source development. Requirements for this talk is that you understand what is free and open source software, so I won't get into what and why of that. We don't have time, but happy to always talk about it. We have some audience here, so maybe we can do a little bit of show of hands. So how many people here ever contributed to an open source project? Okay. How many maybe tried and gave up? Okay, that's a good confirmation, we'll fix that. Because yeah, open source is kind of a really a crucial component in our ecosystem in Web3. We all love to say like, yes, we are open source, but mostly it's about that GitHub visibility button. And yeah, I don't think that's enough. So in reality, we are still kind of bad at open source and we could be doing much more. You maybe have friends, and there are actually a lot of people that want to get into Web3, a lot of engineers, and yeah, usually the advice is, yeah, everything is open source, so just start contributing. And that's really still a fair advice. I think it's valid, and I also recommend that. And I've onboarded a lot of people to Web3, but the reality is I even had like hard time like finding projects for them, like finding the right stage of the projects, depending on the programming language and everything. So it's really not so easy. And kind of a first challenge, and the people that want to start contributing, want to kind of go and learn about Web3, they'll look into, okay, documentation and everything, but then they'll try to kind of take a task. But the reality is that a lot of projects don't actually even label the good first issues. Yeah, so I went definitely through a couple of popular projects, less popular ones. Yeah, no one cares about that part. And yeah, that's really the kind of a first blocker, first barrier for the people to enter. And long term, this is really the self-sabotage to industry, because we need more people, we need more engineers to achieve all the things that we want to achieve. You can also say, yeah, reach out to devs, go on Discord, ask them to take something on. Again, valid advice, but Discord are actually empty. Like the chats there have, yeah, a lot of times there are no answers. I mean, people are busy. But I also talked to a lot of contributors, the one that have contributed to ChainSafe and other projects. And really the main reason that they said like why they give up on contributing to a certain project is lack of communication. So again, this is kind of another barrier that's kind of another blocker for people to get in, and long term, again, self-sabotage for us. This kind of a community standards is a like very small feature inside the GitHub Insights. I think it says it's, yeah, projects health or whatever. It's not a perfect feature, but it's really a basic checklist. And I tried to use it and went to check a few projects. I didn't name them intentionally, but everything looks like it's missing really kind of the basic hygiene. So I looked at protocols, libraries. Everyone just, yeah, misses even the basics. So again, that's kind of one of the problems. And yeah, I've heard a lot of reasons kind of why people don't put the effort. I mean, I've heard it from the engineers in ChainSafe, heard it from others, like, we don't have time, there are like a lot of newbies, there's spam. Yeah, we need a lot of more time to kind of review PRs. I don't think every reason is justifiable, but I think we can, increase kind of how we do things, and I'll get into some tips a little bit later, kind of how to address those challenges, so you can be maybe a little bit faster with those. But yeah, I don't think they're fully valid excuses. Yeah, again, with so many blockers, there is kind of this barrier that's kind of hard to get people in Web3. So if we don't get those contributors, then someone else will. Okay, except the kind of building the open source community trust and culture, might be wondering, okay, what are other like project benefits? So some of the like direct project benefits for you are, for at least your organization and your project, is new features or bug fixing. Like a lot of stuff that we do is built for developers. So if they're your users and they're not the one that will contribute to your project, then there is a problem there. So generally users want to help and contribute, and if you have users who are devs, then you should enable that. Fresh perspective is kind of always a good one. Like a fresh pair of eyes on the project is usually valuable in software development. And third is hiring. That's kind of where we gain a lot of experience. I'll go a little bit more into that, but we all hate the hiring process. It's, it's frustrating. Like you need to come up with job description. You need to go through the interviews, recruitment communication, do a lot of things. And then when you finally hire someone, you still need to onboard them. So like with contributors, you're just looking kind of for the onboarding time. So you're replacing everything else. Fourth thing that I don't want to emphasize, but it is true, it's kind of a free labor because payment is not a main motivator for a lot of contributors. So you kind of get extra for you. A really good example in kind of a Web 2 world that I like, it's not the only one, but the one that I'm mostly familiar with is Kubernetes. So I just wanted to give it as a really North Star example that we can look up to because it's really a community-driven open source project. So there are no really employees of Kubernetes, but the kind of the decision-making, governance, releases, all that has been done by these 150 maintainers. I think they have 150 active maintainers and generally 1,000 contributors monthly that just come in. So these maintainers, they have kind of a hierarchies, how they kind of organize the decision-making process and the governance. And you can also like climb as a contributor, so kind of a similar as you have, if you have like engineering growth ladders in your companies, that's kind of how they have the contributor ladders. So you kind of grow within the contributors. So all this kind of a process is basically the community driven. And if you kind of want to start working on this problem and be more kind of more like Kubernetes, more open source friendly, then you can look at their docs. They're really good, especially kind of the guide and how to start contributing, how to do things. So definitely recommend checking it out as something to take on and apply. So we don't have really in our community, we don't have like a Web3 Kubernetes in a sense that we don't have such a high degree of open source engagement as Kubernetes does within Web3 projects. So how can we create that? I don't have an answer today. It's not one size fits all solution. I think we need to get there a little bit. So I'm starting with this talk, but I'm going to share now like a few ideas and tips and share our experience that helped us with some of the things. So especially want to achieve kind of the long-term impact. So in ChainSafe, yeah, as I said, we have been doing open source development for years. One of the two things that I want to emphasize today is external contributors program. This is really what came out from our protocols team because, yeah, first of all, hiring, it was super hard to hire for protocols. So with kind of contributors and hiring directly the contributors, yeah, we made much better when it comes to retention and keeping really the people. You can't always hire, so if we don't have that option, then we would reach out to contributors and offer them to be part of the paid program, just because we wanted to count on people and have also their life sustainable. So yeah, that's kind of an option because yeah, you can't always hire everyone. And yeah, second thing is kind of finding talent. What worked for our protocol teams is, yeah, great community group, protocol fellowship, but that is only Ethereum and that is only protocol. But yeah, very, very good collaboration with them, and who wants to be a contributor, definitely recommend it. But yeah, that's Ethereum, but I don't know, if I was to look for Rust contributors, then I would also go to Rust community groups and yeah, try to find people there. Yeah, for another project, what actually worked for them in attracting contributors is streaming. So yeah, we have an engineer that streams coding on the Twitch profile. Yeah, apparently people watch that and want to contribute more. So yeah, that's kind of one of the ways. I think other people do like YouTube and DevRelish stuff, but yeah, this has been something that also like attracted contributors to the same project. I mean, reputation is important. If no one knows about you, you're going to have a hard time, but that's kind of at the part where you have to be maybe more proactive and do reach outs. Social media is kind of an important one, as contributors know other contributors. They're kind of in this network. So if they have a good experience, they'll share it, and yeah, it's word of mouth, so might attract others. Again, if you want to be proactive and you need to be proactive in finding those, then you can look into like existing contributors and see where else they contribute, because yeah, people who occasionally contribute to open source, it's just that it's not just one project, but they do to multiple, and they're always looking for other opportunities. So if you want to be proactive, I found that tool to be a like really good one into understanding what's going on and what people are doing and where they are contributing. Few tips to share. One is contributor license agreement, just to kind of protect yourself from the legal troubles. And you can have a bot that checks every PR for that. Fairly simple. And yeah, second one is the review time, the problem that I mentioned before. So how to decrease that, like engineering time, the context switching and everything. Well, you can't disable it completely, but you can do maybe a few things that can improve that. One is, of course, maintain the nearest owner's file so the right people get notified. Use the automation tools. So yeah, those also like help do all the checks, making sure it's green on that end before someone looks at it. And third is a thing that we are experimenting with, but that's AI code reviews. I think they should be good to some extent, at least to kind of help with new BPRs or help with spam or whatever. And yeah, should at least check the code style, check the basics. So when an engineer comes in, they have like, they don't need that much time to check really everything and make every comment manually, but the AI can do that. So there's like less human intervention, and there's like less time wasted on addressing the smaller things or less complex things. So still testing that, but definitely should help to some extent. Additional potential strategies that you can maybe use is enabling contributions so people start with docs. That's kind of the easier way to do it. I think for a lot of people, like contributing to just code and making a PR is scary. So yeah, and starting with docs is kind of what people would maybe like to do. Second thing is bounties. Those are kind of fairly simple, and in the sense you have a task and you want to outsource it to the community, so you can create a bounty, put a price on it. There are like really good GitHub systems that do that. It looks really nice with labels and everything. This is good because it also opens up to a larger target. Because yeah, more people are kind of interested in bounties as well. And yeah, what happens also with this is that you also get more engagement in terms of stars or whatnot. So if that's kind of important to you, that's an extra effect. Third one is recognition, and I think that's something that, not a lot of people really look at, or it's like underestimated, but I think for a lot of contributors, we should be thankful for their for their contributions. So it's not just looks good to me in a PR, but rather you go kind of a extra step for their recognition. You can do basic stuff, just kind of a README list or whatever. You can go more sophisticated and advanced with POAPs or experience systems, but yeah, doing kind of an additional small thing, I think is really good for retention and again, recognition. So yeah, I want to see just open source as a development model. We should maybe build a culture for building things greater than ourselves and create much more welcoming communities. So yeah, I think that's all for today. If anyone wants to discuss, exchange any ideas, experience, yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm usually easy to find. Thank you.
Anyone want to ask a question to Belma?
How do you feel on the balance contributions are that are driven by things like Hacktoberfest or effectively like, you know, airdrops that retroactively end up incentivizing people to have worked on underlying projects?
I mean, the first part, like the kind of the festivals, I don't think we have like Web3 specific. I mean, we don't have to like.
Well, GitHub does this, right?
Yeah, GitHub does that. Yeah, I think that's also like good way to engage, definitely, and especially it's short time. Yeah, I think it's also a good potential strategy because you can attract someone for a short time. It's not like continuous thinking. So yeah, I think that's an easy win. And second, airdrops. Tricky question. I think a lot of airdrops were designed just to reward even a very small contribution. So we started to see a lot of spam, but that's not a problem on the contribution side. It's rather on the airdrop economics. But I think there's less and less of that. But yeah, overall, rewarding contributors and core devs still valid. But I mean, it's not like they do it for the airdrops anyway.
Anyone more? Great. The presentation is finished.
Thank you.